A good effort against the top team in the East, but ultimately a disappointing fourth quarter seals their fate. Brooklyn takes down the Raptors 116-103 is your final. Raps record now 26-36 on the season. Hello, everyone, and welcome inside Raptors Night Cap. Randy Urban alongside Sherman Hamilton, Paul Jones, and Leo Rautins. Sherman, I'm going to start with you. I'm going to ask all you guys this question. Finish this sentence. The Raptors were right there in this one, but
they hit a wall. They hit that stall offensively. They ran into a good bench for the Brooklyn Nets. You know, they went stretches in that fourth quarter where you just could see that they had chances to take over the game and they just didn't capitalize on that. Then the other side of it is the Brooklyn Nets did some good things. I mean, they got some great performances. Mike James was very good. I thought Tyler Johnson was very good. Jeff Green was very good. So they got multiple guys to chip in on a night when Kyrie and Kevin weren't all world. And that's why you build a team like that, to be able to make plays so that, you know, Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving are going to attract a lot of attention, but other guys have to play. And tonight the Raptors ran into that.
Leo, same to you. Same question. The Raptors were right there, but.
Yeah, pretty much what Sherm said. I mean, it's, hey, I think we go back to, you know, what we've seen all season long. Is that, you know, there's something that just pops up. You know, the Raptors got a lot of their guys back and they're playing pretty good basketball. But they're missing a guy that's been really important to them, and Chris Boucher. You're missing Gary Trent Jr., who's been very, very good since he came to the Toronto Raptors. So they have to find a way to absorb that. And, you know, Nick Nurse talked a lot about it in the pregame that, you know, they're playing a lot of good basketball. They're doing a lot of good things. They're just not getting over that little hump. And to get over that little hump, it takes a lot. It's you know, you got to get everybody playing at the highest level. And I don't know how much this team can absorb not having you know, those two guys if they really seriously want to make a playoff run. Because when you go to the bench, you got to have some kind of a push. And if you look at the Nets, they got a lot of guys. I mean, they only played 8 guys. There's a lot of guys on that team that they can go to whenever they want to go to. And then even you pick up a guy like Mike James out of, you know, if you know basketball, you know who he is. If you don't, you go, where's this guy coming from? But he was a difference maker. So you know, the Raptors on the second night of a back-to-back just hit the wall.
Jonesy, same question.
Yeah, but they went a 4-minute 15 stretch scoring 3 points when they had the lead. And to what Leo and Sherm said, that's a third of a quarter. And you know, there's two sides to it. Yes, Brooklyn played well, but you know, the back-to-back, it usually hits you at the start of the third quarter. The Raptors had a really good third quarter and they kept it cranked up. And I just thought they went through their blackout period in the middle of the fourth quarter. And when you black out on offense because your legs aren't good, imagine what happens at the other end on the defensive end. I thought Brooklyn did a good job. And to what Leo was saying, man, Mike James did a great job. I thought Steve Nash really did a nice job in rewarding the young man. He let Joe Harris sit down for a long time because this guy was going, and he was the difference. He was big in the fourth quarter for Brooklyn.
Hey, Jonesy, I made the point. I'd like to know what you guys think. That I don't think a lot of people understand how difficult it is when you come over from Europe. Number one, number two, you join a team that's got established stars, KD and Kyrie Irving. Then you get on the floor with those guys and go, hey, I got this. I got the ball in my hands. I'll take my shots. I'll pass the ball. That's a lot of confidence. I mean, it really is. I mean, you know, I don't want to overstate it, but I mean, you got to be really confident to be able to get on the floor with those guys and do what he did.
Yeah, sure. That's a pretty unique situation, right? Just to elaborate on that, where a guy can come in and from Europe and just mesh that well with a team like that. You know, I think for part of it, Brooklyn's probably saying, okay, here, let you take the reins a little bit just to see what we have. But like he was great in that fourth quarter.
Well, he was, and you know, he was playing at a high level in Europe. It's not like he was playing at a country that, you know, he wasn't being challenged at the highest level. So I think when you look at him, his confidence is high. And, you know, you're going to a team with high aspirations. I mean, this is a championship built team. And I think for a guy like Mike James, the confidence that a Kevin Durant and that a Kyrie Irving gives you and says, hey, we're willing to step back and let you do your thing. That's going to give the young man that juice he needs to continue to play at a high level. But, you know, you can't really be surprised anymore when guys from Europe come over and they have great success, because the level in Europe is so high. And when you're picked to go to a team like Brooklyn, it's because you're of the highest caliber over there. And I think that Mike James has proven over his career that he can get it done at a high level. He comes to a high level situation and he's just continuing that kind of play.
Jonesy, defensively, I thought they were pretty good. What did you think they were doing that was working for them that kind of kept them in this game?
Man, they were hustling. I thought they did a good job. I mean, midway through the third quarter, Durant only had 4 shots.
Yeah.
I mean, they did a really good job double teaming him, forcing him to catch the ball in spots where he would have to go to work if he wanted to get a shot up. Now, not that Kevin Durant can't do that, but he was in a kind of a trusting mode and moving the ball to teammates. But the Raptors, I thought, did a good job with him, and they rebounded the ball well. I thought at the other end, their offense was good in terms of second chance opportunities. Man, Khem Birch was terrific with his energy on the glass. At one point, they had, you know, even now you look at the end of the game, the Raptors had 8-10 more field goal attempts than Brooklyn because of the second chance possession. So I thought they did a good job. I thought they really did. But again, when they got hit in the middle of that fourth quarter, the infectious, the contagious nature of either scoring a lot or not scoring a lot seems to engulf the whole team. And when they weren't scoring and they couldn't get stops, you could see the chasm getting bigger.
And guys, on a night like this, when Freddie and Pascal go for 6 of 33, you're going to have a tough night. You know what I mean? And you need those guys to kind of chip in and do what they do against a team like Brooklyn. But they really struggled. And, you know, when you look at the Raptors overall, the room for error in terms of this run that they're trying to make to get to the playoffs play-in spot, the margin is very slim. And you don't have a Chris Boucher. And Leo, you talked about a Gary Trent Jr. not being there during the broadcast. Those pieces become very significant when you're trying to march your way into a playing game when, you know, you can't make a lot of mistakes down the stretch. And they're going into a difficult stretch in terms of the next few games on the road. So you really notice those guys and what Chris Boucher especially brings to the floor when they're not out there.
Leo, I thought Fred kind of struggled at times, just like his control of the ball. It was just one of those like off nights for him, I felt like. And Pascal, if you look at the box score, you see 2 of 16, but like that's not the game that he had. I thought he was pretty good.
Yeah, I think Pascal is a very deceptive. Statistics are very deceptive in this game. I thought he should have been in the free throw line, you know, twice as much as he was. And I really liked the way he was attacking and spinning and trying to get to the hoop. I think as the game wore on, he got more frustrated. Some of the shots were a little bit more erratic. And it's kind of been a little bit of an issue that as you get into that late kind of turning point stages, he gets a little careless with the basketball, and he's got to tighten it up a little bit in those situations. But, you know, even Fred, Fred struggled in this game. And normally you expect him to kind of make the plays and do the things he has to do, and he wasn't able to do it. So it's like Sherm said, you're not going to win a lot of games. One, you don't have some key guys, and 2, you're not going to win a lot of games if 2 of your top 4 guys are having a night where they can't score.
Jonesy, are there some positives you can take from this? I mean, look, for one, the Raptors showed a lot of resiliency, right? They did get down 10 in the third quarter and took the lead. And I felt like in the first quarter, that ball was humming. There was a lot of crisp ball movement. I felt like they played, you know, with pace. I thought they just played well.
It's the championship residue, Randy. It's the fact that, you know, you're starting 4 guys that had their hands on the trophy. And they, you know, I always say this, you build culture when you're winning, and it gets tested when you're losing. And the test now is what do you like when it's tough? Like, do you kind of pack it in? Do you fold the tent? And they don't. They haven't. I mean, look at how close they were tonight. They've got Sherman was talking about, they got a tough stretch coming up, but I expect them to be in every one of those games because of the personality and the character. So if you're looking for a positive, it's that they're not kind of rolling over and saying, well, you know, we're giving up the ghost here, or, you know, you're playing well, you lose the lead, you get down 10, forget it, we're packing it in. No. This team has that, you know, like I said, that culture of playing hard. You know, we have a way of doing things and we have expectations, and we're going to try and live up to that.
Sherman, we got just about a minute to go. When you look at this schedule coming up, it's gruesome, but it's the Raptors have to put together a few wins here. There is a little bit of solace, right? You're getting Denver without Jamal Murray. You're getting Utah possibly without Donovan Mitchell. The Clippers are banged up. Kawhi hasn't played in a while with a sore foot. Same thing, you know, I don't think LeBron's going to be back for that game. He might be, but it might be on a limits restriction. It could be a good situation for the Raptors.
Well, it's kind of that best case scenario, right? Like you're going on the road. It's a tough stretch. You know, a couple of those are on our back-to-back on the weekend. It's not an easy trek right now when you're trying to figure out a way to navigate that playing spot. So to your point, yeah, I mean, those are positives for the Raptors in terms of personnel that they won't have to face, but they're still going to be playing against teams that have aspirations to go deep in the playoffs. When you talk about Denver, Utah, the Lakers, and the Clippers. So you're not just going into a cakewalk because certain players aren't there. So the Raptors are going to have to play at a high level every single game, regardless of who's on the floor, and just try to give themselves a chance to win at the end of the game. It's not going to be easy just because those guys aren't in the lineup that you mentioned.
All right, guys, great stuff as always. Got to stop you there.
All
Just
right.
one more thing, though, Sherm. I forgot your birthday last week, so I wanted to mention it on this show, and I just kept forgetting, just like you did on my birthday all those years ago.
Don't bring that up. Our producer Christian is shaking his head right now because you brought that up.
Yeah. Hey, right, happy belated. Happy belated.
Yeah, sure. Happy belated. Appreciate you guys as always. Next game for the Raptors, Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern against the Nuggets. See you then.
Thanks for watching. You can click to watch our last episode or to subscribe to the Toronto Raptors YouTube channel so you don't miss an episode.